Hey everyone, just wanted to let y'all know that my physical copy of my graphic novel is now available to purchase on Amazon. There's also the ebook form, but it's finally done. I'm excited. Finally got the physical copy ready to go. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave the links down in the descriptions, alright? Other than that, I hope you enjoy the video. Bye. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wicked Art. It's Wicked here, and on this Fun Draw Friday, we are going to be doing Venom. I've been playing Spider-Man 2, and I've always liked the design of Venom, so since I kind of got him on the brain, we're going to draw that today. So it's going to be a little bit of a lengthy video because we're going to go into some details and stuff. But all you need is a piece of paper and a pencil. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to establish our head shape. So I'm just going to kind of do kind of this semi circle type shape for the mouth. So this will be the top of our head, okay? And then the next thing I'm going to do is we're actually going to shape the open mouth. So down here, we're going to kind of run this back this way just a little bit and come out. And we're going to hyperextend because Venom likes to open his mouth wide and have that tongue sticking out. So it wouldn't really be a Venom picture if we didn't do that. So we're going to do the tongue, but we're going to put like a big curve into it. So we're going to come down this way, back outside the mouth, and then curve back into the mouth. Okay, I'm going to come back over here, this tongue, extend it out. And then as we come back up, see how I'm keeping it like thin here? I'm going to start widening it about this point. And then I'm going to give it some depth coming underneath it. Let's try to give it some shape here. We're going to kind of like widen it here and come back in again just to kind of add, more of a layer to it. We're going to run off the bottom down here. So you should have something that looks like this. Now what I'm going to do is just erase out the lines that, shouldn't be visible through the tongue. Right? So we have part of that's blocking our face. And then I'm going to kind of curve back in this way and make the tongue really wide right here. And then we can kind of get that stereotypical kind of like roundness that you do when you draw, a tongue in somebody's mouth. Kind of looks like a heart shape up there at the top. Then again, we'll erase out these lines that should not be visible. Okay? And then right here, I'm going to kind of give a slight chin. Let's kind of make like a lip shape first. So I'm going to kind of curve in this way and go back like that. Okay, and then we come back here to our head. We want to kind of extend that down just a little bit more right there. And then we want to kind of get the fold of our neck right here and have that run off to be the trapezius area of the neck. Run that down. Now we're not going to draw like the whole body. Okay. So now we have a general setup. I also want to get the back part of the jaw here. That'll run up to the head so we can widen the head just a little bit more. Okay. Now we're going to go in, now that we just kind of have our basic shape, because I'm going to add like a little bit over here, but I want to get all of our teeth and stuff in first. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to come in here and start putting some teeth in. Now, a lot of people, when they draw Venom, they tend to um, just do a standard set of teeth, but we're going to make this one a little bit more gnarly, and I'm just erasing out the lines that shouldn't be visible. So we're going to have a lot of like uh, overlapping teeth in our image. So like I said, we're going to give them more of a gnarly grill here. And I'm just using a basic shape. And as we come to this side of the mouth here, we want to start bringing it more into the mouth so that we can establish our mouth's edge. Okay, so we have our set of teeth that way. Let's start coming over this way with it too. And again, you can go in either now or later, but I like doing it now just so I can see how things are looking. But that little arch of the mouth part that we have here going through, we can erase out that line that's showing through there. Excuse me. All right, and we will just continue adding in our teeth. So again, I'm just making this a very gnarly version of Venom. And that's why we're drawing so many teeth. If you don't want to do that, I mean, obviously your picture's going to end up looking a little different than mine if you don't do it that way. But, the same general premise of everything else will be there. So you can draw your teeth, honestly, however you want to. And again, I'm just cleaning up those inner lines as we go. Okay, and I'll just continue moving down. Again, I'm putting this kind of like a rounded shape up here at the top so that we can get it'll look like it's going into the gum. So we're going to have an actual like gum line that comes down. And every so often, I like to put a little extra tooth action above the other tooth because again, just to give it more of a gnarly look. Kind of think of it like he's a shark almost. He just has teeth for days. Okay, so that's going to be my cutoff point where the tongue is blocking the rest of it. So that's going to take care of those teeth. Now I can come in and I can get that gum line to go through there. So what I'm going to do is just every so often, we're going to put kind of a curve to it. So you can see I'm just kind of humping it around. And you can extend those curves like I'm doing here. Like that. Okay, so that gives me my gum recesses. And then what I want to do is I want to kind of form an outer lip, almost like a snarl. Right, so this will just kind of be my lip space. It doesn't have to necessarily touch, but just give that impression of separation there. Okay, so I'm just adding this kind of a slight point right here, and then bringing that mouth out. And what we're doing is now getting kind of like what that inside, or just barely then outside recess of a cheek, and building up just some thickness there, just so that it looks, uh, you know, more like the face is stretching out. Okay, so from here, I'm going to kind of extend out this kind of cheek shape right here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to build up another set of teeth. Okay, so I'm going to actually, let's extend the thickness of the tongue right here. Like that. And that way what I can do now is I can come out here. I can start putting in my teeth. Again, we're going for more of a gnarly look, so we can have overlaps of teeth. And then just kind of clean up the inside as you go. And you can see how it's starting to, you know, shape and form various angles. So you can kind of switch up as you go. I could put like here another tooth closer to the outside. And then just come back inside again and overlap my teeth. And just clean up inside right there. Okay, and we'll just continue to take that down. Now our mouth is widened down here, so we're gonna have like a kind of like a gap between the tongue and the teeth. So again, I'm just going to form and shape. And if you work on, you know, practicing, the more you draw a character, the more easy it is to then take it and interpret it into your style. So like I've done several drawings of Venom in my personal time that I kind of know, you know, what it is that he looks like, and you know what features to extend, you know, like accentuate, I guess would be the right word for that. Anyway, just to kind of give a better idea of what he actually looks like. So you can see I'm kind of flaring the teeth out here. Because they are coming towards us. And we'll just throw in 2 more sharp lines like that. And that'll give us our teeth there. Okay. So next thing I'm going to do is we're going to, again, we want to kind of get that gum line. right there. And now we have the inner recesses of the mouth as well too. Now if you notice, we have right here a slight gap between our tongue, which means that more teeth would be visible. So again, you can choose the amount of teeth that you're wanting to show. And you just put them in there that way. Now we are going to have a slight under portion of the tongue right here. And then put a little bit of a lip line right there. Now I can come behind these teeth and again try to kind of imply a bottom lip up underneath there. All right. And the rest is just going to be adding in other details like for the eyes and things like that. So depending on how you want to do the eyes is really going to determine how this turns out. So like I can come in here and do the more uh, traditional where we kind of do that Spider-Man shape, but they have these little like flare outs that come back. So where we kind of get these little different curves and whatnot into the head. So like that'll be that white portion of the eye there. And then I can simply come to the other side and we can do the same thing. So for right now you should have something that looks like this. If you need to pause the video or anything, that's fine. Let's actually bring the center line for that tongue out a little bit. Okay, so we're going to come back over here. We're going to put in a little eye overlap right there. And we have our other eye shape on that side of the head. Okay, so now we get into the detail work, right? And this is where we can start really shaping the head. So like right in here, I can put like a slight hump for the top of the eye. Then we can kind of curve that over to this area. And I can kind of do a similar thing right here, kind of curve that in, but curve this piece out. So if you look closely, I've kind of got like a hump, another hump, and then we're going to drag that out that way. Just like that. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and we're going to start detailing certain things. So there's going to be a lot of, shading, coloring, and things of that nature. So I'm going to start with the inside of the mouth just so we can get that taken care of. So I'm going to kind of draw this line here just to show the ridge line of the inside of the mouth. Again, we can kind of add that detail in there. And if you see, I'm just kind of filling in and thickening up this inner area. And I can go in and refine my teeth. So refining, if you're new to the channel, for me, I use the word as refining for changing the weight and thickness and how much the line stands out. And so what that does is it makes it pop off the page a little bit more. Okay. Now I'm going to do one more set of like lines right here and kind of fill in around my teeth. Again, make sure you refine your teeth before you start going around them and filling it in. That way you don't accidentally kind of color over what it is you're working on. So you can see how now the teeth are standing out against the back. And that's why I'm just sticking close to the teeth for now. That way I can do a more broader fill in for the part that goes down down by the tongue. So now I can just simply come in here and fill in the rest of the inside of the mouth. It's just going to be dark in there. And the reason why I'm taking my time filling that in is because I really don't want, like you see all this white in here. I'm trying not to have too much of that showing so it just doesn't look like a lazy shade job on my part. Okay, so now we have some depth to our mouth. Right here on the tongue, again, like I said, we're going to do some detail work, so I'm just kind of thickening down to a point here on the tongue. And then what we can do is kind of add in, like if we wanted to add in some slobber or something on the tongue, so we could do things like this where we kind of come in. Let me just erase that line. So we can have these kind of shapes built in here to kind of designate where the slobber and slime is on the tongue. And I'm just kind of making up shapes here for different points that the slobber can be on there. Okay, so right here on the tongue, since we kind of have this little bit of overlap, we're going to kind of shade that in with some dark lines again, just to kind of give it a little bit of depth. I don't want too much like flaring coming out of there. And then the rest of it, again, just going to kind of refine around the teeth. The rest of that inside area, I am just going to fill in. Just like that. Okay. Again, I could probably add another little circle shape What we're going to do is just kind of go around and thicken up those edges where the kind of slobber is on the tongue. Okay. Now down in this region, I'm going to kind of build a shape like this for the slobber. And I'm going to kind of erase out that area so it looks like he's starting to get a buildup of some slobber right there on the tongue. So again, I can just kind of go around and just thicken up that edge. Of the drool or the slobber, whatever you want to call it. And the other thing that's going to be key is cleaning up any like sketchiness lines as you go too, because you don't want it to look all, you know, sloppy. So we're going to kind of have this drool shape kind of come down this way. And that'll kind of take the shape of that tongue. So again, I can kind of thicken up that line underneath right here. Maybe put like a little circle right there. And then this under part of the tongue, right here by the jaw, just kind of make a shape like that. Again, it'll just give it some more depth to it, so that stands out some more. Okay, so again, it's up to you completely how if you want to even do the drool or not. If you like just want the tongue out of the mouth, that's up to you. Okay, so now here on the bottom portion, I'm going to kind of draw in this shape here. And then we'll make the tongue stand out more that way by coming over to the top. So we got the whole bottom area. Okay. And then I'm just going to kind of clean up any of the sketchiness as I go along. Okay. So we have that part of the tongue done. Now I can kind of do some more of the slobber. Right here on the tongue, I can kind of have that come around and wrap this way. Again, it's completely up to you whether you want to put all this on there or not. Let's make a slight like addition of slobber right down there. So again, I'm going to go down and just kind of highlight the edges of the slobber. I'm going to put like a little bit of roundness just so it looks like it's overlapping on the tongue. Okay, you can see how now it looks like it's kind of flowing over it. Now we do have like a slight overlap here. So I'm going to kind of curve down into that. Just like that. Okay. And then I can come in and start working on thickening up the tongue. Now, if you're wondering why I'm spending so much time on the tongue, is the one thing about Venom that's, you know, somewhat makes it a little bit easier when it comes to like shading him is, I mean, his alien exosuit skin is essentially, it's just black. So there's not a lot of detail as far as what's, shown. And so that doesn't take quite as long as far as like planning goes. But like right here, what I'm doing, I erased out that part. I'm doing like a little bit of a drippage. I'm going to wrap that around the tongue. Again, giving it kind of a hump right there. And then I just kind of clean up any of the overlapping lines so that that slobber stands out a little bit more. And we're just really just defining the rest of the tongue back in that area. Okay. Now you can see how this is kind of like wrapping, right, is what I've kind of done with that. So I'm going to have that come back over the top here. And then right off the edge of the tongue. Have that wrap back up. So now I can kind of come back and erase those lines in the middle. And now it looks like we have something dripping off the end of the tongue. So again, just going to kind of thicken up the lines for the slobber. That. Let's get the rest of the tongue itself. Okay. Now, you might be wondering, like, how are we going to shade the tongue? Well, the way we can do that is, again, I'm kind of treating it like our light source is coming like kind of down into this way, like from this direction. So we can have a little bit, like I usually tend to shade things because of based off of what makes it look cool as opposed to what's 100% accurate. But we can use the same shading premises. So like as I'm closer to the edge here, I can be a little bit darker and then lightly pick up my pencil as I move my way out. Okay. Same thing with some of these inside areas. I can just get a little bit on the inside. Again, just to kind of sell a shadow. going into those areas. Now, since it is just kind of slobber, I don't necessarily need to shade in the slobber parts. Just leave those light. Again, I just kind of get lighter as I go out. Okay, so you can see how we kind of added in a basic shading tone on that. So once I get down here, because the tongue is now curving out, my shadow is going to be more based off of this end down here. So I kind of just fill it in first. And then again, the furthest back part, we're going to kind of darken and then lightly work our way out. And that's just done by just picking your pencil up and barely touching the paper with it. Like I said, this is going to be a longer video. I don't like doing the time lapse and say, hey, figure it out on your own. I like explaining my process the whole way. Some people don't like that. They only like the little quick 10-minute whatever, but I am just not. I like to make sure that you understand why I do what I'm doing, and then you take that yourself and expand upon that and start coming up with your own styles and methods for doing things. Now, this whole bottom part right here, I'm just going to kind of lighten as we get to it. So it'd be more along those lines like that. Okay. Again, my light source, the way it's coming in, so this back portion here is going to get more light. So what I'm going to do is, we have a little bit of a roundness here, and I'm going to use that to kind of, showcase where I'm planning on highlighting and not highlighting, right? So what I don't want to do is, see how the tongue is touching some of these dark areas in here. So what I like to do is, I like to leave like a little comic book glare. So you can see I'm leaving this kind of a white line right here. So that is my I do not touch, do not shade line, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And I usually only do it on the spots, like I said, that touch the blackest of black areas, just because I don't want to lose that. So now I can start from here and go light out, and you can see how it's left that white gap. It now shows that separation from the tongue. Okay, so same thing here. I'm going to kind of put a tiny bit of a curve right here. We're going to keep this light right here, but then darken this kind of bottom area, and then just bleed and blend right out to this point. Okay, so as far as the rest of this goes, I am simply just going to shade that in. And I mean, you could look at the tongue as being, slimy, so it would have a little bit more glare and stuff to it. but if I went into super duper hyper realism detail, this video would probably go from being about an hour to 2 hours almost. So I'm trying to keep it as basic but detailed as I can. If that makes sense. I'm trying not to bog it down for those who don't have like 2 hours in a day. Again, we just kind of blend it out, just going lighter as I take it out. Now, this is not my typical style. I like to do more of a stylized, like simplistic version of things, just because it saves on time. But every now and then, I like to test out my ability to come back and be a little bit more realistic with my work. So, not all the time, but as much as I can. Just so I know that it's still in there if I need it. Okay. Now we're starting to come to this top area. So again, I'm just going to kind of lighten that up. And slowly bleed and blend into there. Okay. Now, because the tongue is now changing again, my shadows that were here are now going to start flipping to this side here. So where I'm going to do that, I'm going to come from here and go down. So I'm going to leave a little light there, but I'm going to kind of get this bottom area. I'm going to kind of darken that. I'm going to go out. And then lightly bring in some shadow right here. Okay. Again, just remember, I kind of go more for what looks cool with a mixture of what's accurate. Okay. So this part of the tongue, we can just kind of put like a slight shadow right in there. Again, just anywhere there's that kind of a jewel wrap, we can put a very light kind of shadow over it. So like this will all be completely covered. Okay, and then again, I have most of my light right here. I'm just going to kind of shade all that in. And it's always good, like once you kind of marked it off, you can take a step back, look at it, and kind of decide how much you want to go out. Because if you go too dark and you don't really give it room to lighten up as it goes out, well, then it just all just becomes one big, black darkened piece of art that you can't really define or tell what's going on between different various points. So again, we're just going to kind of come out this way. So just keeping this back edge part darker than the rest. And then lightly picking up my pencil and working my way out. Just like that. Okay, just got this last little bit right in here. Now again, we're being turned away, right? So we're going to put our shadow, the darkest area, back here in this region. And then just very lightly working my way out towards the spittle. So again, I'm just kind of darkening this back edge. And now we're good to go. Okay, now for this, just because there's kind of a bend in it, I'm going to add a very light shade to this point, just to give it some depth. Right in there. Okay. Now what I can do is, like down in here where the gum line is, I definitely want to thicken, and like I'm doing this dark, like I'm coming in here and hitting up this edge. And lightly coming out at points. Okay. Now for the teeth and things like that, you can again add in some shadow in there, but since they are teeth, I'm going to keep it very light. I'm not going to add a bunch of darkness in there because again it'll start to blend in what I've already done and kind of take away from what it is, and then people won't really be able to tell that they're teeth. They'll just look like dark splotches all over the face. Okay, so I'm really just kind of cutting the teeth in half. That's the thing that I've always said in my videos. So if you're new to the channel and you're like, good Lord, this is taking forever, please understand that I come from a standpoint of, like, if you want your art to look good, you have to be willing to take your time. There's no fast way to do things. Now, don't get me wrong, there are professional artists out there, like super professional. I can sketch something out in probably, I don't know, maybe an hour, half an hour. Or, depending on the piece for me, it can take me an hour, it can take me 2 hours. Like prime example, another person, if you like comic books that you can go check out, is David Finch. And, I've sat in on some of his live streams and stuff because I like the way that he inks his pictures and stuff. That's something that I'm still learning how to do. But I mean, it takes an hour and a half for him to knock out a picture sometimes, and it's just good. You get to see the whole process, which was what I'm doing. I always hated as an artist going on, YouTube looking for like tips for things that maybe I didn't know. And it would just be a time lapse video and somebody just talking over it. Now, I have some, like when I do my digital art, I tend to do a time lapse because I take my time even more with digital art, that it can take almost, you know, 3 to 4 hours on some of them, just because I'm learning from my mistakes as I go, changing things up. And so I just kind of time lapse and talk over my process. Because, like I said, nobody's going to sit there and watch a 3 hour video on how to do something. But, like, for something like this, for like pencil, I mean, I think are we sitting at 49 minutes, so almost an hour drawing this. But I mean, in my opinion, it's worth it. It's coming out, looking the way that I want. Now we're gonna go right here on the gums. And I'm going to thicken this line out, going around. But I mean, the last part of my point is just please understand that good art takes time. If you're looking for the fast, quick fix, if you are really serious about art, then you'll take your time with it. You'll take the time that it takes to learn. So following along with this video or any of the videos that I've made or somebody else who has a long form thing, it's going to benefit you in the long run. Alright, now I'm going to lightly come in here and kind of shade until I get to a point. And then just kind of lightly shade it underneath that kind of lip gum line that we just did. And then I'm going to leave some gaps. So you can see how it gives it a little bit more. So now I'm going to do the same thing. Right inside here on these gums here. Again, just adding a little bit more detail. Now, here's where the tricky part's going to come in. Because we know this inside area here, I'm going to kind of lightly shade to about this point here inside the mouth. And then again, the way our light and possible rim light goes. So now I'm going to kind of come to this outside here. And again, Venom is black. So I'm not really going to have too many variations of color to emphasize that on the face, okay? And then, same thing with under the jaw. Like out here, I'm going to pretend that there's a light. That's coming out. And as I come down, leaving that little bit of space. Like you can see right here, I'm leaving that white. It's just a little bit of space for some reflectivity. And also just gives you some separation so that you can really see what's going on. So at least to that point. And then I want to kind of do the same thing here. So right here where this fold is, right? Bring that out. And down this way. And then what I want to do is, if you remember what I did before here, where I kind of had that white edge, I'm going to do the same thing right back here. Again, just so I have that bit of separation so that it's not all just completely black. Then I can just kind of go around and thicken up that bottom edge. So again, you can see it's giving me a little bit of light, but the skin is still dark enough, right? So same thing with like this lip up here, right? So you can see what I did was I tried to get as close to the edge as I possibly could. Let's just go ahead and darken and thicken up those areas. And then I want to kind of do the same thing right in here. So I'm going to come up and get as close to the lip as I can. Right? So once I get that in there, I can kind of connect that there. And just start filling that in. Right? So you can see how it's going to give me some layer separation from the lip to the face. Okay? So I'm going to do the same thing. Run that over. Clean up the sketchiness right here real quick. Again, I'm going to stay as close to the lip as I possibly can. And run that down. And then I'm simply just going to go and fill that in. Nice dark color. So it might be good if you don't have like a mechanical pencil like I do, just that you have a pencil sharpener close by. Because when you get these dark colors in here, you're really probably going to burn through some lead. Like that, okay? So now we got to kind of start building up to different sections on the face, right? So same thing, I can kind of come in here and we can start making these shapes to kind of help define certain areas like the cheeks. Again, just to give it more of a cool look as opposed to an accurate look. Okay, so I'm going to thicken up this outside line right here, run into the eye. So you can see how now it's going to start filling in. Now it's going to start looking like, Venom, with certain areas being darker than others. Then I'm going to kind of leave like this highlight here. So right there on the eye, I'm going to leave that little bit of an opening. And then I'm going to come here above the eye. And we're going to kind of do the same type of thing. Except this time, I'm going to kind of leave some of the space open. Just so I can get to a region that's kind of like showing me like where a nose would be if he had one, even though he doesn't really. So I'm just kind of drawing this space in here. So some of these regions will just kind of be like grayer areas, I guess you'd say. So we're going to color that in. since I kind of did that, I can kind of thicken up an outside area right here. Okay, so you can see how it's kind of starting to fill in areas on the face while leaving some. You want to leave some glares just because, like I said, he's an all black character, and we don't want to overdo the amount of light that is visible. So we're going to start splitting off some areas of reflectivity. And again, that just comes with time and practice and figuring out how to separate these areas. So like I'm just thinking about like certain points where like there could be some wrinkles and things like that, and just kind of deciding based off of that. And let's get some going here on the back side of the head. Just kind of filling it in and making it up as I go. As you can see, I'm trying to keep it nice and dark so that it gives off the look that it is Venom. And like that's what I was trying to get at with like you could possibly burn through your entire pencil doing it this way, but yeah, the choices we make for decent art, I guess. Kind of get like a curve up here. And then what you can do if you want more of like an area to highlight and have more exposure, you can do less with that area. So like I'm gonna go around the eye, and we're just gonna go ahead and thicken up that line work. Like that. And then I can do different things like come in here and bring in different folds and wrinkles. And like as I'm working my way out this way, you'll see I'm not having as much not as much shadow or black areas because I'm having the light kind of overtake those regions on the head. So it's almost like we're giving him a set of forehead wrinkles. And we're just kind of picking and choosing based off of what's left, what's going to look the best. like this area here, and curve up towards that side of the head. Okay. And then again, just kind of making shapes that help fill out the head. Let's see, we want to kind of get an upper forehead curve here. Maybe we can extend that out just a little bit more. So far, you should have something that looks similar to this. We're going to work in probably one more right here. And then just kind of thicken up the top part of the head. Get rid of any of my sketchiness right there. Okay, so now we can start working our way down. Let's do, again, we want a little bit of separation here. So I'm going to kind of leave that gap. Actually, you know what? Because of our light source, let's just fill that in. Have like a little extension come out right here. And then what we'll do is we'll come in from this side. Like that. Okay. And now we have a little kind of like folds right here. And what we'll do is, again, I want that kind of shadow separation right there. So that way if I come out this way, we can build that dark shadow that comes down into here. Kind of maybe give them like a little bit of a vein right inside of there. Now again, I want that separation because I don't want my tongue to be absorbed into that. Again, I'm going to get that little bit of separation for my tongue, and again, that's just a personal preference thing of mine to do. Okay, and then we do want to capture, some shapes of the body down in here. Just like we can give like another vein right here. Just what I'm going to do is end up filling most of that in. But let's stay focused on this upper area for right now. Finish that off. Take that down. So now we have that highlighted. We can have certain areas that we can just kind of fill in black too. So basically what I'm doing is using the negative space or the spaces that are not, filled in within it to try and make it stand out and give more shape, and form to the image. So you can see how we're kind of like blending the highlight in a little bit. I'm just kind of thickening up that line there. Okay. And we can do the same thing as we work down. Again, what that'll do is it'll break up all that negative space so that there's nothing there, It'll have a shape or a form of some kind to it. Okay. And then I'm going to do this kind of fold right here. Like that. And I'm just kind of like letting my hand kind of free flow to make these shapes. Sometimes it comes out right. It's kind of like, Bob Ross used to say with the happy accidents. Sometimes you make a cool shape out of it. Sometimes it may look weird and you have to fix it. But always look at it first before you start filling it in, because see how dark I'm making this? Your eraser is probably not going to handle this or erasing all of it completely. Like that. Alright, so now let's choose a cutoff point and a couple other spots that aren't going to be black, just so we can have a hint of shape in here, just kind of get the lighting where we want it to be. So I'm going to have like a portion of the chest that we won't fill in. I'm also trying to find an area to kind of cut it off so that it's not just dripping down to the edge of my paper. So it's kind of, think of this as like more of a portrait than a full body render of Venom. Okay, so you can see I'm kind of picking these spots of where I want some more visible detail, but not too much. And then what'll happen is I'll just end up filling, all the rest of that in. Because I know, like right here, right, we got the oblique that should be coming down. Or not oblique, but our trapezius muscle, it should be coming down on this side. So we're going to probably cut off right there. And fill that in like that. Let's clean up some of this. And just thicken the outer layer. Right there. Okay. And then for like right in here, because see I got those dark regions around the mouth. So I'm going to go and be careful and go ahead and go around my teeth. Okay. We'll do the same thing here, just a little bit. But we're going to kind of, again, put in that shape to give a little bit of a glare on that side. And then maybe one more like that. Okay. So now, finish off the picture. By simply just filling in the rest of it. Okay, so you can see how now he's starting to look more like Venom because we're getting that dark color in there, completing the rest of the body. And you're well on your way to the home stretch. So while we're filling that in, if you made it this far, you are awesome. Straight up awesome. Now look, right here, I'm going to do that same thing where I kind of give it some white space gap between the tongue, just so we have that separation. It's going to erase out a little bit of white right there. Okay. But like I was saying, if you made it this far, you're awesome. I'm glad you decided to stick with it and actually try to complete a hard, challenging picture, something you may have not done before. But if you're new to the channel and you like what you saw and you have ideas for what you want to see, you need to comment for me. Comments help the most, not for channel growth, but for me guiding the channel. What do you as an artist want to see me go over? What do you want to see me cover? Because that is the whole premise of this. Is I used to be an art teacher after getting out of the military, and I just love teaching people art. Or somebody's like, hey, I always wanted to know how to draw Sonic the Hedgehog, whatever. I mean, I'm down for whatever. It's your, I don't view it as my channel. I view it as your channel. It is for you, the audience. What do you want to see? So leave me a comment. Don't just watch the video. Leave me a comment. Let me know what else you want me to do. Help guide me to guide you. That is my sole purpose with this. And I really need your help. So if you leave me a comment And let me know what other things. I got digital. Like I said, if you're new, I got digital art stuff. I mean, just anything that you're curious about. Heck, even, painting or something. We could dive in something like that if you wanted to. Um, but yeah, like I said, overall, my channel is made for you, the viewer. It's not about me, you know, doing what's popular to get the clicks, get the likes, get the followers. It's not what I'm doing this for. I'm doing this to help you become a better artist. Yeah, not trying to sell anything. I'm not doing any Patreons, none of that craziness. I'm just here to give you 100% free art education. And that is something I will never go back on. And I enjoy doing it. So, again, if you're new though, and you like what you saw, go ahead and hit the subscribe button too. That helps out a lot. Leaving a like, hitting the notifications, all that stuff. It helps. That way you know when the next video's up. And we can get down on doing these artworks. Now you can see as I start, filling this in, you gotta be careful. You can start to get a little lazy and leaving some spots open. Just be careful with that as you're going through. Don't be in such a rush that it looks like a scribbly mess. But yeah, like I said, I was working on, I do comic books too. I have a comic book. You probably saw it in the little advertisement before this all started. Um, I finished my first graphic novel, and then I hooked up with another YouTuber, Christian Harloff channel. If you want to go check him out, if you're into movies, talking about aliens, all kinds of crazy stuff. Anyway, I did a comic book for him because he has a show on Fridays called Capes and Cows, and I kind of took people from his show and turned them into comic book characters. But now that I have finished with that, I have more time to work on my own comic slash making these videos again. So unless something changes, I should be back to doing about 4 to 5 videos a week. But I literally just finished on Monday, so we're probably only going to get like 5 videos out, or 4 videos out this week. But yeah, like I said, I'm here for you. So you let me know what to do on this channel, and we'll be good to go. Help me help you. So like I said, I'm not doing this all based on algorithms and chasing all that stuff. Like I said, this is a classroom environment. This is for you. And if I only get, I think right now out of the 400 people who are subscribed, of which I am eternally grateful, I'm really only getting like 4 or 5 views a video. But the part I find funny is I rarely get any comments, so if you're not entertained or getting any fulfillment out of what you're seeing, then you need to let me know in the comments what it is you want to watch videos on. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm going to do what you request, but I'm not going to turn this into a... We'll just use an example. I'm not going to turn this into a Dragon Ball Z channel. I'm not just going to sit here and draw Goku every day, because that's not helping you as an artist to just draw Goku all the time. The purpose of this channel is to learn how to draw, and then you can draw in any style, any way, shape, or form. So look at this channel as more of like, learning the basics, drawing something fun every now and then. That's really the whole sole purpose of what I'm doing here. So you can see this is taking some time to fill in, but the thing of why I always say good art takes time is art is subjective, number one, so you may not like what I've drawn. But me personally, I like when I've taken, like I've done right now, maybe hour 20 minutes to really knock something out and challenge my own self. And I love seeing the end result and going, huh, I made that. I took the time and I made that. And that's what you should be getting from art, is a satisfaction of saying that that was you, that you enjoyed the process. It shouldn't be a chore. You should enjoy the process of drawing. If you're not loving what you're doing, if you're not liking that it takes you longer than 5 minutes to draw something, then art's probably honestly not for you. But that's just me being honest, giving my opinion. But that is going to do it for this very long episode of Fun Draw Friday. Thank you for those who stuck around and did it. I'd love to see your work. Share it with me on Twitter at WickedArt5, Instagram, whatever. I'd love to see how y'all did. Let's add in a couple more things before we go. I'm just going to add in another little shape right in here. Let's thicken it up some. And then we can kind of shade in the eyes. But yeah, I mean, other than that, that's really going to do it for today. Like I said, if you like what you saw and you're new to the channel, um, leave a like, subscribe, comment. Let me know how it did. You ain't gonna hurt my feelings. Other than that, I hope y'all had a really wonderful day. Y'all have an even better weekend. Enjoy it. And I will see you guys next week with probably more videos. Like I said, now that I have a little bit more freedom. Other than that, y'all have a great day. And remember to keep on sketching. And I will see you in the next one. All right? Bye.